Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So I have to make this video because I feel it's my responsibility, like many other people who have any small voice, to talk about something that is basically destroying the Western game industry. And we have to talk about Highguard because what has happened over the last couple of days is just absolutely legendary. And they are doing again the same playbook moves, blaming the gamers for their failed product. Now, again, I have to say this, please, if you're a game developer, listen to this video because it is honest. It is not born out of hate. It is not born out of malice. It is just a honest reflection of what's happening to yourselves, and you have to accept constructive feedback and not have positive or toxic positivity, which is what's killing many of these game developers and their games, right, in terms of development. So former Highguard developer blames content creators for game's rapid fall. Yeah, as if these guys are the gods and everyone listens to them. Like, no, excuse me, that's not the case. So Highguard, a free-to-play hero shooter, launched in January 26, peaking at 97,000 people. Now is dropping to only 2,900 people as a peak in February 14, amid bugs, poor optimization, missing features like a scoreboard. Sobel blamed review bombing, personal attacks, and negative content creators for killing momentum, despite patches adding ranked mode and fixes. Critics pointed to the game's launch flaws in a crowded market, while some defended the team against unfair hate, highlighting live service challenges. So, here is something that is just going crazy. Right after a couple of days of launch, Highguard developer Wildlight Entertainment has laid off most of its staff. Unfortunately, along with most of the team at Wildlight, I was laid off today, and they are being very angry about it, right? I mean, you can see here, former Highguard developer reflects on disastrous announcement at launch. We were turned into a joke from minute one. The hate started immediately. What is he talking about? He's talking about the Game Awards, right? In the Game Awards, effectively, when the Game Awards saying the game, and by extension the team, turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about $1 million ad placement. But I mean, this is because in the Game Awards, if you want to be in there, you have to pay for every minute or something $1 million. I mean, that's what it was the cost. Jeff Keighley put it there for free, but he didn't tell anyone. So of course people would make assumptions. I mean, common sense. Just 2 weeks after the free-to-play game's launch, Wildlight let go of all but core group developers, despite the newly unveiled Season 2, Episode 2, which I don't think is going to happen, but anyway, and despite debuting in the top 10 in weekly active users in the US, Steam, and the top 20 to both US PlayStation and Xbox. Now, in a candid statement posted on X, tech artist and rigger Josh Sobel, who was one of those let go, talked about the impact on the launch on himself and the well-being of the entire team. Now, dear developers, this is something that you have to understand. This is really important to you. Stop chasing trends. Stop trying to make a game that you think is going to do well just because there are other games on the market. You're trying to copy them, and just because you put lots of effort into that particular game does not mean the game will succeed. We have seen this so many times. I mean, for crying out loud, like if you go to Steam charts right now, you have games like Mugenics, man. Mugenics, which is a game which launched with like no publicity whatsoever, and it has 61,000 concurrent users. And this is build the ultimate cat army through tactical breeding and send them into deep, challenging turn-based adventures. Like, look, this game, man. This game has literally 60,000 concurrent players. So what does this tell you? What does this tell you? This tells you a very important story to understand. People value original content, they value something new, and they don't care about your graphics, and they don't care about your you know, following the trends. Like there are games, for example, Apex Legends, of course, Delta Force, you know, the aforementioned also, which are PUBG, of course. These games will always be popular because they're the ones which have set the trend. But the thing is, if people are already playing these games, who's gonna go to your new game? That's the thing. It has to be like a game changer. If it's not a game changer, your game will not survive. That's the big issue, right? Yeah, look at this. Highguard was fully translated and accessible in 10 languages and playable worldwide, meaning you had the entire world as your player base, and still lost 97,000 players. This isn't a Western charts problem. The world rejected Highguard. That's the problem. I mean, look at this. English, French, Italian, German, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, Spanish, Latin America. It had languages and audio and interface in every major language in the world. However, people still rejected it. Right? That's the thing. Look at this. I resent the idea that review bombing killed Highguard. You managed to get almost 100k concurrent players on day one, right? If the game was worth playing, those players would have stuck around. The game's worth playing, so the game wasn't worth playing, so they didn't. Look, if you're a developer and if you want to make a game, remember, stop making games people don't want. Stop making slop. This is really important as a game developer. And then you complain as a game developer and you say, oh, the Asian, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, they're stealing our market. They're making games that we cannot compete against. So that way we are now basically forced to make standard games, which we know are going to work. But then what happens is that these standard run-of-the-mill games, people have played them for decades. We are not kids anymore. Like in my lifetime, right, I played hundreds of games, right? Now, at this stage, because the industry, it is where it is, it's very matured quite a lot compared to like a Nintendo and, you know, PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. A simple hero shooter, just because it has some fancy new guns or like a new funny map or something, or a new funky mechanic of looting, that is not going to sell your game. It has to be something unique, special, different, beautiful, and also doesn't... The problem many people had with this game per se is that it looked very generic. The characters are really generic, your typical like AAA characters from like ArtStation, effectively, Unreal Engine 5, just very, very samey. People get annoyed when they have to be forced to this sort of thing, right? I mean, look at this, man. Every time I see a failure on a live service game, I think back to my interview with Sean Layden, where he explains why these games fail. The Highguard devs provided a mediocre product that no one wanted in an overcrowded market. It really is that simple. Like, give me one example. Why do we have, for example, like, on YouTube as well, you create a YouTube channel, right? And many people think that just because they create a YouTube channel, they're going to have millions of subscribers. It doesn't happen. It happens to 1 in 10,000 people, or even 1 in 100,000 people. The rest of us, we are just scraping by, making some views, you know, trying to grow slowly, little by little. But there's very, very, very few games out there, same as content creators, who actually make it to the top list, to the top tier, as in games that everyone is playing on a daily basis, such as Counter-Strike, Dota, PUBG, Rust, right? Arc Raiders, of course, for example, like these games, effectively, which you need to have a lot of people if you have free to play as well. I mean, that's crazy, right? So Highguard, they are blaming the fact that, you know, they had an issue because, you know, it wasn't the Game Awards and people misunderstood them and they thought they paid 1 million to be there. In the first place, guys, really important, you don't put a game like this, even if it's free, you don't put it in the Game Awards event and you show it as the next big thing. Because Jeff Keighley, he gaslit everyone and he said, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. And then what happens? Well, people try it and they realize that it's a run-of-the-mill hero shooter with some marginally new mechanics, such as, oh, you can loot mines now and, you know, go to mines and loot boxes before you fight the base. and then you have to fight against the base, and then they lose a point, and then you get teleported back, and then you have to do it all over again. It's like that extra mechanic, which is quite annoying because many people said it's quite boring because you have to go around in an empty map and there's not enough combat. With the 5v5 it was a bit better, but even then it wasn't that the greatest, right? So these are things like common sense, man. Common sense. You don't make these announcements in these big events and then expect gamers to just, you know, say, oh, okay, well, you know, it's okay, you know, we'll play it and stuff like that, you know, that's fine, don't worry about it. Like, if you set the expectations so high, that's what's going to happen. And then there's another problem. If this game, because many people say, oh, if this game would have launched as it is without the Game Awards promo and just would have launched with a simple trailer on YouTube or social media, again, the game would have not succeeded because the market is overly saturated and the game does not offer anything unique of value that would make it addictive, that would make people want to play it forever. That's the thing, right? That's the problem. If you have a game, and Jeff Keighley, he said, he went there and he said, oh, I went to the game studios and I played the game, I tried the game a bit, it looked quite fun. He said, oh, it looked quite fun actually, but that's the thing. Doesn't matter, like, if you play a game for 10 minutes or 30 minutes and it looks fun, is it gonna be fun after 10 hours? Is it gonna be fun after 5 hours, right? If it's not, if the answer is no, then you have a problem. I'm pretty sure Jeff Keighley didn't go there and play the game for 5 hours. I'm pretty sure he went there, he played it for maybe like 30 minutes or something, or maximum 1 hour, and that's it, right? In that short time frame, the novelty of the game itself makes you think that the game is fun and the game is new and fresh. But that's the problem. You have to go past the novelty. That is the issue, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And also, this is amazing. PC Gamer, what that was actually community noted. Like they said, Highguard didn't flop, and then they got community notice saying Highguard did flop. So it's just shocking. Like, again, the media shills are protecting these games and trying to gaslight gamers into saying that no, these are the games you have to buy, these are the games you have to consume, right? This is the article for this one. Good to see modern game devs are still managing to come out with every reason to justify their failing outside of just admitting the game was never that good to begin with. And this is a problem in especially I think in America as well. A toxic positivity, like they don't want to see their flaws. They want to believe that they're perfect, that they are literally like the best developers ever, and they don't accept criticism. That happened with Concord. Like with Concord, they had after leaks, they said that the game has such a toxic positivity that you could not criticize the game in meetings. If you would say the game designs are shit, they would literally ostracize you. They would like shout at you, they will say you are like a bigot or something. Like in the company itself at Sony, when they were developing the game, you were not allowed to have any negative opinion about the game because you will be a negative person. That's the problem. Game developer, guys, if you're a developer, you must embrace negativity because negativity makes you stronger. If people hate what you're doing, then stop what you're doing and do something else to make it love what you're doing. I mean, it's just common sense, man. Common sense. I mean, the hate immediately started. In addition to dogpiling on the trader, I personally came under fire due to natively on Twitter, which almost all of my now former coworkers had learned to avoid during their previous game launches. After setting my Twitter account to private to protect my sanity, many content creators made videos and posts about me and my cowardice, amassing millions of views and inadvertently sending hundreds of angry gamers to my replies. They laughed at me for being proud of the game, told me to get out the McDonald's application, and mocked me for listing having autism in my bio, which they seemed to think was evidence that the game would be woke trash. All of this was very emotional taxing. But again, that's not a thing. Like, you are basically using your autism as a tag for like asking for people to treat you differently. Again, I mean, I don't know. There is much constructive criticism that can be and has been said about Highguard trailer, marketing and launch, but I don't think it is my place to comment it on that. I also don't think there's any way to know whether the launch would have fared better or worse without the massive spotlight that was thrown onto in response to the Game Awards, but we never got that chance. We were turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about a $1 million placement, which even prominent journalists soon began to state as a fact within minutes. But because that's what happens in the event. You should have told. Jeff Keighley should have said in the first place, oh, by the way, guys, this game, I gave them a freebie, and I want to show it here because, you know, this is my personal pleasure to show it whatsoever, but at least say to people that, yes, this game has a freebie in this event and they didn't pay for the placement because they're an indie game developer, whatever, and we want to give them the spotlight. They should have been honest from the get-go, right? Every one of our videos on social media got downvoted to hell. Comment sections were flooded with copy-paste memes, phrases such as Concord 2, Titanfall 3 died for this. At launch, we received over 14,000 review bombs from users with less than an hour of playtime. Many didn't even finish the required tutorial. In addition, in discussion about Highguard, Concord 2 XKO, and such, it is often pointed out by gamers that devs like to blame gamers, my bad, for their failures, and that's silly. As if gamers have no power, but they do, a lot of it. I'm not saying our failure is purely a default of game culture and that the game would have thrived without the negative discourse, but it's absolutely played a role. All products are at the whims of the consumers, and the consumers put absurd amounts of effort into slandering Highguard, and it worked. Now, excuse me, if the game would have been great like Marvel Rivals, it would not be a problem. That's the problem, see? That's the problem. If you have a quality product, right, people will play it. But if you have a shit product and you believe it's a quality product because you are misguided, because you believe in that toxic positivity in your office, which nobody is allowed to criticize because it's a Western culture and you have to be progressive in that ideology, then you're going to fail. That's the problem. That's the problem. Many of Wildlight's former devs will now be forced to assimilate back into the actual corporate industry many gamers accused Wildlight of being a part of. Now, every time someone thinks about leaving the golden handcuffs behind being in favor of making a new multiplayer game the indie way, they'll say, but remember how gamers didn't even give Wildlight a chance. Soon, if this pattern continues, all that will be left are corporations, at least in the multiplayer space. Innovation is on life support. How is this even innovation? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is this guy on about? How is this game innovation? Are you kidding me? Come on. I mean, look. Like, how can you be so delusional? How can you be so delusional to say that this is innovation? Like, just because they added some extra small features. Like, what? Like, wow. Just wow, man. Yeah, it's just wow. So yeah, peak delusion. That's the thing. This is the best answer, right? If your internal message testing and feedback were like that of the game, no wonder it failed. Toxic positivity has no place in any product development, especially in gaming. Look at this. This is lightning in a bottle. I trust this team wholeheartedly. If there's one project nobody in the industry worried it will fail, it's yours. This has mainstream hit written all over it. There's no way it will flop. I could play this game all day. Like, this is it. You got gaslit by the journalists. You got gaslit by people who don't care about your game whatsoever. They just want a game which is standard in the market. And this is what happened. If you're delusional, this is the result. So please, game developers, take this as a lesson. Don't copy paste what's already on the market. If you want to make something new, make something fresh, and very important. Don't follow the trends. Don't make games that people are sick about for years, because that way you will flop. As simple as that. I mean, the market has spoken. It's very basic. Why is Marvel Rivals so popular even to this day? Why is it? Look at this. Last night, 153,000 peak players. Because it is different. It is unique. It is special. It has a special sauce to it. That's the difference. Because the game has a special sauce, the game has survived. If you don't have that special sauce, well, guess what? You will die very quickly as a game developer, and your game will die. because it does not have the special sauce. So guys, that's it for today's video. As always, I shall see you later in the next one. Bye.